Hi guys, welcome along to the Barbecue Talk Show. My name is Matt.
And my name's Ryan. First, I'd like to say Happy New Year, everyone. I know is it a little bit too late to say that, or is it still it's still all right, isn't it?
The 8th of January. Of course,
so,
say Happy New Year. I'm pretty sure people say it all the way up until like the middle of summer.
Well, it's our first show back, anyone. It's lovely to be here. Always good to have everybody in the chat. Hi, everyone. Thanks for jumping on. And we got a really good guest this week, Rob from Locarbecue. Firstly, Matt, how you doing, brother? You good?
Yeah, not bad. Muddling on, you know. Loving the being locked down again, but you know, we've got to keep everybody safe.
Go lockdown.
Absolutely. Hopefully another 3 months and maybe we might start seeing a little bit more light at the end of the tunnel, eh?
We like it so much. We've done it 3 times. Fuck it. What can we do?
Why not?
Uncle Steve's in the chat as well. Hi, Uncle Steve. Right, so let's get this chat rolling. Should we pull? Oh, firstly, what we need to do is talk about the Rusty Barbecue Company and their sponsorship of the show. If you head over to our website, you can get 10% off his rubs. Also, Uncle Steve, as you're in the chat, we do a giveaway of some rubs. Obviously, we've got some left for people in the UK, and if someone in the US wins, hopefully we'll be able to sort that out as well.
Absolutely. We'll do that a little bit later on in the show, I think. Yeah. Yes. So, should we get our guest in and have a chat?
Yeah. Let's get Rob up and let's get this going.
Yeah, let's do it. Hi, Rob.
How you doing, guys?
Thanks for coming on.
Gotta say, very impressed. I've been sitting backstage watching you guys chat on the YouTube screen. It's a lot more professional than I'm used to. If I'd known we was going to have backstage, I might have asked, give you a little rider, maybe. Some drinks in.
I'm sure you do have the drinks covered at some point. You've from what I've heard, it's going to be fine. So you'll be all right. I'll put a good word in. I know the bar staff. They look after you, mate. You'll be fine.
Oh, excellent.
I'm sure you get a few drinks shoved down your head. Oh, Sue Stoneman's in the chat as well. What's new barbecue? Hi guys, Lep's in.
Lovely Sue, evening.
Hey guys. What have I done? I've broken myself.
Oh my god, not again.
Yourself, please.
Okay, so I'm going to get this interview going a little bit. So this is one of the first questions we ask everybody, just to sort of ease everybody into the interview. So what's your first memory of cooking over flames, really, and barbecuing? How did you initially start up?
You know what? That's not the first time I've been asked that question this week, and I still don't really have a great answer on that. I don't really remember ever starting barbecue. I mean, did a lot of camping as children, did sort of like the typical UK holidays, and my fondest memory of that is when you'd wake up in the morning and you'd hear the whistling kettles on the campsite and the smell of bacon cooked outdoors. And so I think right from about 7 or 8, probably realised that food cooked outdoors tasted better than anything else you can have. So did a lot of that with the Cub Scouts as well. Grew up on a farm as well. My dad's a farmer, so we cooked a lot of stuff on fire. So yeah, I guess if you want to say barbecue, then certainly in my adult life, probably around 2009, got my first place, got my own first barbecue. So I guess that was when I really started to evolve with it.
Oh, cool. That's nice. I was actually in the Cubs as well. It's good memories and good times, actually, thinking back. You kind of forget how good things were. Daddy Cook's in the chat. Hi, Phil. Thanks for jumping in. Yeah, it's a really good sort of like hanging on to memories like that to cherish. It's a really lovely thing, going camping in the big tents and coming out in the morning and having a fire, chucking the baked potatoes in and all that good stuff. It's pretty cool, isn't it, really, if you think about it?
Exactly. I just hope we can get to creating some memories for the next generation soon as well, because they seem to be having a bit of a rough deal right now. So
That 100% totally agree. It's been awful. Like, as we briefly touched on at the beginning of the show, back into lockdown 3, kids at home, homeschooling. I know we've had a pretty rough couple of days just trying to what's the word?
It's been fun, hasn't it?
Power back.
That's probably a good time to bring this up. Actually, I've had to make some changes. I'm currently doing a 10-kilometer run for 10-day challenge, and thanks to the changes in childcare, I've had to be going out and running in the evening, which means running around the village. So if you're wondering why I'm looking a bit sticky, it's because I've just this second got back. So going to come on, have a quick chat with you, and then I'm going to go and jump in the shower like the dirty hermit that I am.
Nice.
Lovely.
I wish I could run 10k. I reckon 10 steps, then I'm out of breath.
You can, mate. You just get out there and work up to it. Anyone can.
Yeah,
it is not great, but I could probably run at least 10 yards. But that's why we've got you on. We're going to talk about a lot of good keto stuff and barbecue related content. Absolutely. So I'm going to be able to take some good advice, pick your brains, get back on it like I was before Christmas, and then I'll be smoothing my way back into keto. So
I'm learning, just before I jump in, I'm just learning to take my own advice again. I've been off the wagon now for pretty much since the start of lockdown. If you go on my Locarbecue page, you'll find that there's quite a lot of carbs on there at the moment. So I'm kind of having a bit of a reawakening for myself. I'm on the old January bandwagon, the new me, new year, new me, all that nonsense.
Yeah.
So it's a great time to come on and have a chat about that type of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Well, that's why you're here.
Sorry, talking over you, Ryan. Carry on.
Sorry, dude. That's my fault. I'm getting a bit carried away.
That's
you go, Matt.
Well, hopefully it inspires some people to, try keto and see if they like it. I'm keen to learn about it. Ryan's done it, so yeah, it'd be good to pick your brains.
I just encourage people to cook more barbecue and just re-challenge what they might think is healthy and what isn't.
What's wrong with cooking more barbecue, eh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So here we go for the questions. Then you've got we touched on what you've been doing. What pits are you actually running at the minute? Let's talk about those.
What pits? A pit might be overselling it. I'm running my drums in the shed, so you won't see me put much on your group lately. That's retired off for the moment, mothballed if you like. Running 2 master touches, black one and a smoke one, a Weber Summit, the old school original one, a smoke fire, and a master touch, a master built 560. So nice. I've got quite a selection on.
Selection, yeah, definitely. Ooh, it's changed.
So we got a question from Charlie. How do you think the average person has changed cooking since COVID has come along? Obviously outside, obviously.
Is that a question for me or a question?
Yeah, no, it's a question. A question for you. Sorry, I didn't explain. If you pop a question up into the chat, just sort of like answer it, or we read it and you answer it, and so see what you
think. Again, it's all perception, isn't it? I mean, sort of if you're spending time on Instagram, there's just been loads and loads of people bust onto the barbecue circuit, and lots of people really up in their game. So for those guys, they're putting themselves out there and doing things. For other guys, perhaps like myself, if you've had your nutrition in a good place, for some of us, it's kind of gone backwards a little bit. So I'm eating a lot of junk food. I think the average person is probably, I don't know, maybe hibernating. If you're prone to a bit of a comfort eat, now's an excellent time to be doing that, because there's enough stress going on in the world without your diet being one of them.
Definitely, it's true enough. It's been a shit show, to be honest. Christmas was a strange one this year, I found, but let's sort of move away from that.
I got my mate Kevin on. So Kevin's my social media husband. I'm pretty sure some of the snakes would say we're having a relationship, and I'm okay with that. He's like the brother from another mother. So, hello, Kev.
No, that's nice. Well, welcome along, Kev. It's nice to have you here, and we're looking after your husband, and it's all going to be fine. Don't worry. Oh, cheers! It's he's breaking out the big guns.
Oh, look at that. That's a funky glass.
Yeah, everyone loves this glass. So it's there's a little silicone mold in there, and so it freezes. And the nice thing about it is because it's a large lump of ice, it doesn't dilute your whiskey too much. So that's what you want.
Yeah, definitely. So, what whiskey are you drinking at the minute? Then, what you supping on?
That's a Jameson's, probably my favourite blend. I like a single malt, but we're getting through a lot. Jameson's ticks all the boxes. You can get a litre for 25 quid, straight from Amazon. Probably get it on subscription for 2021. Now is not the time for dry January, is it?
No.
Definitely not.
See, you can only really challenge yourself to one thing. It's either the 10K thing or dry January. You can't do both. That's just not fair on yourself.
Yeah, so you might as well pick.
I reckon just bin off dry January completely.
Fucking do 10K Jameson's down your head. That'd be exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Right, so let's get.
I'm loving some of the comments. Hobo Nicole, but my nutrition has no room to go backwards. It's been pinned up the wall since 1993. I think I'm probably right there beside him, to be honest. My weight's been up and down as a child. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm peaking at the minute. That's for sure. But so let's get into your Instagram then. Yeah, it's rocking a bit. What's your favourite sort of food to cook on Instagram? What do you most enjoy doing?
I like barbecue, obviously. For me, my food is quite simple, just because of what it is. So when I'm on plan, I'm trying to cook something that is mainly meat and fat. So protein and fat is a mainstay for every meal, and then a low carb side to bring it. So in its most simple form, you'll have a portion of protein, low carb side, and an added portion of fat. So that might be pork chops, broccoli, cheese sauce, might be steak, mushrooms, double cream. So it's all really simple meals, all kind of 4 or 5 dishes. I do all of the ribs, pulled pork, all the classics that we're expected to cook and turn out.
Yeah.
But for me, I just use it like an oven, because you can cook anything on it. It's kind of it's the way to think of it, really. There doesn't have to be sausage and burgers all the time, as I'm sure your audience know quite well. But
100%. We got some really good guys in. Well, we always have good people in, but there's some really special, lovely people in tonight. I'd love. Thank you for all joining in. We much appreciate it. But
how do you find the Weber Summit? Is it all right?
Weber Summit
comparable to the Kamado Joes?
I've never cooked on a Kamado Joe, but I can talk to the Summit. It was gifted, just to disclose the fact. But it's cracking.
I want a gift like that.
Yeah. It's only recently started happening. I don't probably cover it a bit in a minute, but you just get, like today I cooked a tomahawk and I haven't posted it yet, but you just get a lump of fire on one side and you've got so much room over the other side, and you've got a nice controlled steady fire, and you've still got the room to kind of cook indirect. So it's very much like a kettle, just a standard kettle, but much more efficient. So not burning hardly any coals.
And
it's just really stress free, because it just controls temperature and it regulates with hardly any intervention at all. And you just control it on the top vent. But of course, you don't have to I mean, it's much like the kettle, but you're not exchanging the real estate because, as you know, with the kettle, it's really hard to cook in direct because by the time you've got your fire going on and then you've got your food, there's not as much room. But I haven't managed to fill the Summit yet. I haven't managed to fill it up.
No? Bloody hell. It is a big old unit. Definitely a big old unit.
It's incredible as well when you pick it up. So when you lift the lid, everything feels nice. And like Kevin's just said, it's insulated. It's not heavy like a ceramic. It's twin steel. And
okay. Yeah, it's double line, isn't it?
It's like a thermos flask. It works in the same way a thermos flask does.
Nice. So would you recommend it to people?
Definitely, yeah, 100%. They've brought the new ones out, haven't they? I mean, they're getting mixed reviews. It looks like what they've done is taken some of the money out of the product or the value out of the product, and they've removed some of the things that you don't need. And it's typical, isn't it? I mean, people complain when they're getting all the stuff and then they take some money out of the product and they talk about the loss of the quality. But when it's high quality, they talk about the price. But for me, the headline here is Weber have taken like £600 out of the product. And they've removed the Ignitey thing on the side. And my experience of the Ignitey thing is I like it. But once the first bottle of gas ran out, which was quite quickly, I haven't bothered to put another bottle of gas on there. So I would take some money off. The other change they've made with the new one is they've changed the wheels. It's now on casters. I don't really have any opinion on that at all. And the other thing that's causing quite controversy is they've changed the deflector plate. But again, if you look at the one that's in the old Summit, it's probably over-engineered anyway. So to take some of the cost out of there, I mean, they were 1,500 quid for the original one.
Now they're under 1,000, aren't they?
Yeah, they're under 1,000. I think Wow Barbecue are doing them at 800 quid.
You got it.
So
I was looking earlier, just seeing how much one would cost. Yeah, but I think it was 899 for the Summit.
But just to touch on the gift thing, I've been into garden centres. I've been down Alton's. I saw the Summit in the flesh, and I looked at it and I loved it, and I put it out my mind, and I thought I'm never going to own one of those things. So I just stopped thinking about it. Yeah. And then, of course, to have one is just pretty humbling, to be honest.
Yeah, extremely lucky. I'm envious. I love Weber products. Obviously, I love BDSs as well, but yeah, I wouldn't mind a Summit, to be honest. They're decent looking bits of kit.
I mean, I got gifted the what was it? The Premier Master Touch, one with the spring-loaded lid.
Yes.
Let's just say I'm glad it was gifted.
Okay.
And I didn't spend money on it.
When that came out, I looked at that and I just thought, I want the hinge lid. And it was an exciting time because when you look at the evolution of Weber's, they haven't really changed all that much since they modelled that around the Lifebuoy. And I realised, I only found out the other week that they still use the same presses. So when they're stamping them out, they are the original presses, the same ones. So it's very much little has changed, but I thought the hinge lid would be a great thing, but it sounds like it's not working out as well.
No, it did not work. They I don't know, where'd you start with it? I think they over-engineered the bracket and then just went, okay, that'll do. And then when they put it on there and you close it down, the lid don't sit right. People have come up with different ideas of, modifications, flip the springs around, mount them in a different place, and it still doesn't do what it should do. It should sit. Not, I mean, if I want to do low and slow, I actually have to take the top of the lid off because you've got a screw that you can just undo it, and then sit it off of the spring. so that it's airtight, which is quite a shame, because
One thing I would say with
that kind of money, you'd expect it to be on point, but
yeah, it's an entirely fair comment, and I'm not sponsored by Weber officially. I have had some ad hoc gifts, but one thing I would say, if you're ever experiencing a difficulty with a Weber, is let them know, because they are on it. I mean, when I called them up with a problem with my smoke fire, they sent someone out that day. And I don't know if that was because of my influence, or just whether because they really, really wanted to get it right. But they will stand by their products. And when you start speaking to the guys in Weber, they're just like guys that love barbecue. And I think most of them, they haven't aspired to work in Weber because they love barbecue, but they've learned to love barbecue because they work for Weber. And yeah, if I can do anything with them, then it's going to be a great story for me, just because of that family company that I've seen, you know.
I mean, I hope it's just that particular model that they got wrong, and that the rest of them are, equally as good as they used to be. But I don't know. I think I said to Ryan plenty of times, I think I must have just had a Friday afternoon job, because I opened it up, the little clip-in bits into the middle of the wheels. So it's like, in fact, I'll tell you what, I've got one. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
Having those shorts there.
Wow. You got shaky. Right. So we got a question from the chat, from Pickles Barbecue again. What made you start your Instagram, and your thoughts on what's to come in social media? What are your thoughts on that? That's quite a big question.
Good question. I mean, we're seeing. I started my Instagram just because my mate Ed Stearman, Ed's own barbecue, he's having a bit of a sabbatical right now. He said he was going to put himself out there and do a bit more on Instagram, and we were great friends on Facebook. And I thought, yeah, brilliant. Why not? Let's do it together. And likewise, my pal Edge Barbecue, he was just getting into Instagram, so we all started at the same time. So maybe it was a little bit of a competition between our circle of friends, if you like. But we just decided it would be a better platform to share that type of thing, because you can target your audience much better than you can on Facebook. And certain channels on Facebook have just become a little bit of not such a nice place to spend your efforts, you know.
Yeah, I totally agree. There are some, like, I think Facebook and Instagram, I think I've probably said this a million times, they're totally different beasts, you know. Facebook, you do tend to get your keyboard warriors in there a little bit. They'll tell you the best way to do it after doing like 2 or 3 cooks in some cases, in some groups.
What do you mean? I know best. I haven't used it.
Exactly right. Whereas on Instagram, it's very much this is what I've done. What do you think? And it is a little bit more detached, but also more of a positive thing from what I've seen as well.
Yeah, you see. Go on.
No, I was just going to ramble a little bit, but you go.
It's my turn to ramble. Should we talk about this plastic thing? Because I can say.
So basically, that's the little cap that goes in the wheel center. Yeah. So I opened mine.
Yeah.
And it was misformed. I only had that much of it. I then mounted the hinge onto the lid, did the hinge up, and it just went ping. Oh, great. Okay, there's one nut gone. Another one. Three of the nuts sheared off of the mounting kit.
There's not too much.
I think I had a proper Friday afternoon job. It was not great. But yeah, the guys from
I'm pretty sure if you let them know, they're going to send you one out, right? But I do agree.
Yeah. To be fair, the guys from Weber sent me a completely replacement hinge set up. So the hinge and all the mounting parts, and obviously some more of these. Hence why I've got one kicking around in the bedroom.
Like you do.
Like you do. Spares. But, I think once it bedded in, a little bit. It's a little bit better. I've done some of the modifications with the springs and stuff. It's a little bit better, but hopefully it's just me that got a bad go at it, and everybody else isn't of the same opinion.
Yeah,
I certainly don't write Weber off because of my experience, because I know that I've got another kettle that's spot on, so I know it's not just. It must just be that one. No,
I feel the same, because obviously I'm at a point with my social media where I receive the occasional gift, which is fantastic. I'm loving that, but also I got into barbecue with the same intentions as anyone else, and for probably for every pound of equipment I've been gifted, I've probably spent £10 of my own money on different tech and hardware. And I remember my journey. I don't know if you remember the Maverick thermometer, and I wanted that for ages and ages, and I eventually convinced the wife to get it for Christmas, and we were going to do the obligatory Christmas dinner on the barbecue, which is like a rite of passage for most people. And I remember opening this up Christmas morning. I remember just looking at it, and it was like the biggest pile of plastic cheap crap I'd ever had, and I'd seen. I remember how much I wanted that, and how we'd put real money into that, and I remember being disappointed with the product. And it was not like, in fairness, there wasn't that much else around at the time.
No, there weren't. The Mavericks were the one everyone wanted, weren't they, at the time?
They were the ones, weren't they? And looking back, I wonder how many of those people saying they were the best bit of kit were actually receiving those for free. So when I'm lucky enough to get a gift now, I'm always keeping that in my mind. If I'm banging on social media, and then someone goes out and spends real money on it, or their own money on it, potentially based on an input that I've had, or an influence that I've had, then I want them to have the best experience. And if they don't, then I kind of feel like I take that a little bit personally. I'd hate to think that I'd contributed them to spending money on something that was a bit shit,
I totally agree. I wouldn't endorse anything I didn't like. Like, in fact, me and Matt had about a certain product. Do you remember? You were like, should we do it? I was like, I'm not 100% sure we should, but in the end we did, and they were good. So
yeah, I mean, we got Meter in, and we had one person that disagreed very strongly with Meter. I think they had some bad press in the US at some stage, but they've obviously come on leaps and bounds since then. And I think that person may possibly have changed his mind, because some of his guests on his show might have changed his mind for him.
Okay.
But around that one.
It sounds like there's a bit of a.
It was a good episode. It was definitely a good episode.
I always see both sides as well, because I'm a reliability engineer in my day job, so it's my job to make reliable equipment, and I also teach root cause analysis training, and I do that all over the EMEA region. And I've learned basically, and you probably agree, in 2020 has shown this, is the consumer or people, they can basically be potatoes. And so it's really hard to separate what is consumer error and engineering flaws, but at the same time it is consumer products, so it's the marketing company or the engineer's responsibility to make it stand up to that. And sometimes when you're reading the reviews on products like you mentioned, and I don't have any opinion at all because I've not used one, but I do wonder how much is consumer and how much is engineering issues. But after a while, when you see so much negative feedback about a certain product, you have to say it's probably a piece of shit. And then other people, they love it. So who's right?
Well, this is the thing. Everybody's got different opinions, and like as you said, some people have positive and some people have negative experiences with the product, and that's just exactly how things are. It's like Matt and his Friday Weber. I've got 2 Webers. In fact, I've got 3 Webers. One's a gasser. It's 9 years old. Never had a day's. Never skipped a beat. I had another one. Yeah, it was a little bit shit, but then they replaced the lid for nothing.
Yeah, you've had loads of luck with them. I ring them up, and I rang them up to try and warranty my old one, still in warranty. The enamel started to crack on it, and they were like, "Yeah, sorry, that's just the way it goes." And then you hear all of these other people that are like,
perhaps you're doing it wrong, Matt. Perhaps you need to ring up and say, "Hi, it's Matt here from Barbecue Talk Show. You might have heard of me."
kind of a big deal.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Oh dear.
Looks like you've got some banter coming in from
I've antagonised the lads that were watching the show that we were talking about. He's still not happy about how that episode went down. It was something different, you know. We certainly learned from our interview that night.
Anyway, so let's get back. We need to get onto these questions. We've been chatting.
Yes, we do.
We've got some questions to push through for the podcast and everything else that's going on. So let's talk about getting into ketosis, Rob. You're totally into it. That's what your page has been pretty much about for that. I'd say that's what the core of your content is, and you're a super fit guy with lots and lots of ultra marathons under your belt, which we're going to touch on in a little while. So what would you recommend or how would you recommend to get into ketosis and sort of like make it more of a lifestyle change rather than just sort of like go and eat a load of meat and fat and see what happens?
Yeah, it's not even a diet I necessarily recommend. I mean, lots of people, they do really well just counting calories, and you can eat effectively whatever you want as long as you don't go over your calories. But the trouble is for many, it's really difficult to moderate, and I include myself in that. Now, the nice thing about the keto diet is it's more aligned, in my opinion, and just to clarify, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a trainer, I'm not even qualified to talk about the subject. Anytime I talk about this is my N=1 experience. But now that's out the way, I find that the fats and the proteins, they're very nourishing, they're very filling. And when you take out the sugar, I lose a lot of the cravings. So I find overall I eat less. So I find it an easier time to not overeat on calories. And plus, my favorite food is kind of centered around barbecue anyway. So for that reason, it just really works for me.
Yeah.
See, I don't think keto is going to work for me then, because I like sweet stuff. A lot of sweet stuff.
Yeah, but Matt, have you ever asked yourself why that might be? I mean, when you think about your entire lifetime up till now.
Because I'm a fat git.
No, I'm not suggesting that for a second. What I'm trying to say is that sugar is the mainstay of all of our diets, right? I mean, you think about straight away when you come off mother's breast, you go on to Farley's rusks, right? And the second biggest ingredient in Farley's rusk is the sugar. So breast milk is quite sweet anyway. Straight away you're onto the sugar, right? So we're weaned onto it effectively. And then you think about when you hurt yourself, when you've had a bad day at school, you get treated to ice cream. My favorite one, right, is when you've been to the dentist. I remember if I was a good boy at the dentist, I used to get taken for ice cream afterwards. So dentist, so we're weaned onto it, and it's kind of, the more you have, the more you want, and I don't think anyone realized just how addictive it is. But I feel like for me now, sugar is almost like a substance. It's got no functional purpose in the diet, but it's a bit like alcohol or coffee. So alcohol and coffee is nice. It should be enjoyed sparingly, but overall, it's not doing you any good. So why not crank it back a little bit?
Yes, Ryan.
I'm all up for a bit of alcohol abuse personally, but
not this year. It's a really bad year to be pulling that shit.
It's got the vase out again. It doesn't make it any better if you drink it quicker.
It's the gift that keeps on giving. My wife got it for a birthday present, so I'm paying respect to my wife by drinking excessively on Fridays. So suggested though. So we sort of touched on your thoughts on keto and stuff. So you've got some banging recipes. When I done it, I must admit I got a little bit jaded with the selection of food you can cook. It's all sort of low salt, high fat, protein, no sugar or carbs. But some of the food I've seen you cook, it all looks amazing. Like you got loads of spinach and mushroom and creamy sort of dishes going on for midweek sort of dinners and things like that. Where'd you get all your recipes from, man?
Well, to be honest, I don't do all that many recipes. I kind of freestyle it quite a lot, and that's probably the thing with keto. I'm surprised you said that everything's low salt, because you actually have to supplement quite a lot of salt. There's a lot of mistruths about salt, and again, I'm not going to preach that upon to anyone, but I would suggest reading a book called The Salt Fix. Actually, not enough salt is worse than too much, and maybe it's not the salt that's really hurting us, because we're perfectly okay to excrete salt, but when we have a diet that is excessive in carbohydrate, we hold on to salt, which can cause high blood pressure. So I'm surprised you're finding diet recipes that are low in salt, because I actually take, if I feel like my electrolytes are going off, I might actually have a whole teaspoon of salt with a pint of water. And that's probably going to make a lot of the audience kind of gag a little bit, but I've learned to recognize when my electrolytes are going off, and just to give
an idea. What how do you determine that the levels of going on with that?
You start to feel
telltale signs.
You start to get like a foggy feeling in your mind, and you can feel it behind your eyes, and it kind of forms as a headache. But the thing is with our body is we have essential electrolytes, and it's basically made up of sodium, magnesium, and potassium. And again, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm only some madman talking shit on the internet. But ultimately, when you go on a keto diet, there's two things going on. Is you flush the glycogen from your system. So water and your electrolytes cling to that glycogen. But when you start to flush that, you pee it out, you sweat it out, and you're carrying out all of the salts. And that's a transient thing. And secondary to that is you're actually not getting a lot of salt from, if you're eating a lot of pasta, a lot of processed food, you're getting a lot of essential salts mixed in with that. So that's one of the reasons people struggle with a keto diet, is because they get a sodium deficiency, and your sodium is in your blood. So as soon as your sodium goes low, your blood volume starts to drop, and then you go foggy, and then you fall off the wagon and you go back to your old life. It's called the keto flu. It's well known.
I did struggle with that a lot. Well, you remember what I was like, Matt. I was fucking miserable sometimes. But once you actually break through it, you feel so much better. You're not as hungry. I didn't feel tired. I didn't really need that much sleep. Like, I was staying up till fucking all night virtually because I just couldn't sleep. I just felt so full of energy and really good.
Yeah. I mean, the brain
give it a good crack then.
Supposedly runs better on ketones. A lot of the biohackers, they're finding them more focused, they're finding more energy, they're finding themselves less lethargic. I can't say I've enjoyed any of that. I still feel basically as stupid as I usually would. But what I have found is that I don't get those crashes. I don't get those high levels, and I don't get those lows, and I just find like a stable energy. And that was pretty much my motivation for a keto diet, because if you talk about it in an athletic context, the guys who you've got about 90 minutes of intense energy levels running on glycogen. You see runners, and they're necking these carb gels, and when I've got my keto game on to the best, and I'm doing my ultras, I'm just running past checkpoints, and I've found that I can run a whole marathon without eating anything at all.
Wow.
Because you've got infinite energy, right? Almost infinite energy. If you think even the skinniest guys, they're carrying probably 100,000 calories, but the body can't burn it, and the body won't burn it when the glycogen is there. And we've had such a rich diet in carbohydrate, which in my opinion isn't aligned to our evolution, and the body just won't burn it while that is there. And the reason why, in my opinion, why people are getting larger is because there's not an energy shortfall. In our evolution, we're designed to go days without any food at all. I mean, to me, it feels batshit crazy that you'd have a bowl of cornflakes at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then you're hungry again at 10 o'clock. I mean, look around us in nature. You're just not seeing that. You don't see lions. They don't get up and have a bowl of cornflakes and then go out and hunt for their prey, do they? They go weeks without eating anything at all. And I believe that is more aligned to what we're evolved to. How much whiskey
you can drink daily on a keto diet?
Enough. I've finished mine now. So a lot of the guys on the keto diet, they're having spirits because there's less carbs, but you can't ignore the fact that there are calories in alcohol on any diet you're on. It's not health food, is it? We're not drinking alcohol for health benefits.
No, so you're trying to find the best of the worst, if that makes sense. That's certainly what I targeted anyway. I was like, all right, what's the least bad for me on keto? So I was like, oh, fucking gin, wicked. I don't mind that anyway. So
gin, vodka, whiskey, and like the keto nuts, the guys who are in it for health, they'll say you shouldn't eat anything, you shouldn't do this. But my stance on it is progress over perfection. I don't want to get sign up anyone to where they feel like they failed, because as soon as they failed, they give up. So you have to find something that's going to work for a long time. You have to find something that's going to fit in with shit that happens in your life, because shit does happen in life. 2020 being a prime example of that. And it's not like anyone's really got their shit together. You just have to kind of do what's right for yourself at the time.
Definitely.
I'm gonna have to look up this keto stuff. It sounds interesting.
Hit me up, mate. Come drop in my DMs, and I'll give you
slide on in.
all my 1 penny's worth.
I will. I'll hit you up.
It's a lifestyle change. It isn't a diet. It's just a different way of eating. Is what I found. Like, once you get into that pattern and you know what your body expects and you give it what it needs, you feel so much better. And the weight, I wouldn't say the weight falls off, but you're constantly losing. And that makes you feel a lot better about yourself, because if you can get on the scales every week and see you've lost 2 or 3 pounds and you've ate all of the stuff that everybody tells you shouldn't eat, it's like, fucking, this is brilliant. So then you feel a lot better about yourself. So then you carry on doing it. And then next week, you've done a little bit better, or you may have done a little bit worse, but you're still happy because you've eaten what you like eating instead of like next to nothing of stuff that tastes fucking horrible. Which is basically why I chose to do keto,
I mean, I lost a lot of my weight just counting calories. And when I was counting calories, I learned that was getting more calories from the bread in a bacon sandwich than what I was from anything else. And it turns out that it was actually the butter and the bacon that was good for me, and not the refined carbs of the bread. So it was an easy. I didn't get straight into it. I mean, I kind of realized the foods I liked and the foods I didn't like, and trying to control those calories. It just felt like a natural bit to lose the bread. You should change your background talking about alcohol, not the best for you. If I dropped alcohol every week, I'd be doomed.
True enough. So, your Summit Sundays, you've done a couple of them. When are we going to see some more? They're really entertaining, mate.
Oh, did you see? We had the final ever. We had the final ever Festive Summit Sundays on 20th December. Of course, we're coming back. We're just trying to evaluate what we're doing, because there's lots of people doing lots of stuff on Instagram, and it's not like, well, ultimately, when you speak to Kevin and myself, we just want to have fun doing it, which we have been. December was an interesting month. It was very festive. You saw us making cocktails. You saw us downing beer and doing all sorts of things. But for that was fine because it was Christmas. But for the longer term, we want to deliver a little bit more, and we don't know what that little bit more is. So we're taking some time just to really fresh that out. We are coming back. We've got a show on the 17th, and I don't want to jinx it, but we've got a really good guest coming on the Friday night, and it's someone I'm really excited to interview. But it's around the whole Regenuine movement, and as a keto guy, and when I've been doing my learning, I've been hearing a lot about regenerative agriculture on the podcasts I listen to, and I've been hearing a lot about sustainability, and I've been hearing a lot of the BS that comes out of some of the vegan agenda. So when I see this brand who are doing what they're doing and they're addressing
the vegans again,
I'm really excited to get them on and talk about them. And I've given you a strong hint as to who that might be now anyway, but I don't want to do it in case it doesn't happen.
No, fair enough. Nothing wrong with that. We're going to get hundreds of comments from the vegan army now. Grab your pitchforks.
Yeah, do you ever wonder why they're so angry all the time? I always wonder why.
It's because they're malnourished.
They're angry. I mean, I'm up for learning from anything, and I followed the vegan diet as part of my weight loss journey, and there's lots of elements to the vegan diet that I actually respect. Mainly the removal of processed foods and everything. But my issue comes from the fact that there's like this public perception that if it's vegan, it must be healthy, and that's of course bullshit. As case in point, Hellman's vegan mayonnaise. You look at the branding of it; it's got all of the green, it's got all of the nice, vibrant, well-being colours. And if you look at the regular mayonnaise, no one sees that as a health food. But they march up Tesco's, they see this vegan mayo, and they think they're on the health wagon. And it's just that's not how it rolls. I'm afraid, not in my opinion, anyway.
I mean, I'm pretty sure mayonnaise has like 2 key ingredients that they can't eat. So what's the fucking point in replicating it?
Yeah, I mean, mayonnaise is. I've made mayonnaise, and my basic understanding is it's an emulsified egg and oil.
Yeah.
The oils that are used aren't any good in a human diet anyway, and so the egg, in my opinion, is the only useful ingredient. So when you remove the egg,
exactly. So what is that made up of? It's like PVA glue, surely.
There's all sorts of things. And I'm going to get on my soapbox, and I didn't see this in the agenda, so I didn't realise we were going to be going here. But
No, we don't want to bash the vegans at all. But if you want to, you can jump up for a little while. Please do feel free. Your opinion is always, is always interesting.
Beyond Burgers, love that. Beef burger, right? I'll give you the basic recipe for beef burger: beef, salt, and pepper as an option, and then you look at the ingredients for the Beyond Burger, and you read the ingredients on there, and you think, yeah, that seems like a better
That's
choice.
legitimate.
Shall we move?
Yeah, let's not beat our
To be fair, they don't tune in very often. I wonder why. With the title "Barbecue Talks."
Yeah, I get no hate from the vegans on my Instagram, to be fair, so I don't need to be attacking those guys.
No, the world's a vicious enough place. You don't need some angry vegetarians coming at you.
But isn't that the thing now? Everything's so divisive. You've either got to be a vegan or you've got to be on the other side.
It's not so bad if you're going to make that lifestyle choice and say, right, okay, I don't want to eat animals. I don't want to eat anything that comes from an animal. That's your own choice. Don't sit there and try and force it down someone else's neck and change them.
Yeah.
Vegan January or whatever, vegan annuary. It doesn't even fucking go. My wife's just corrected me. Veganuary. It's just like, just go away.
I think most people, every guy wants to be a little bit healthier. They want to be a little bit better, and you've got this well-oiled kind of marketing machine that somehow, if you cut out meat and you eat more plants, then you're following a more healthier lifestyle. And I have to separate vegans from the vegan agenda, because a vegan as an individual are normally pretty cool. They're normally, but if you're an ethical vegan and you don't want to see animals killed, it's pretty difficult for you to say, I'm not going to do it, but I'm gonna be happy about everyone else doing it. And there's millions and millions and millions of pounds in the marketing agenda, and when you get on there and you get these hashtags, it's easy to get behind that. I mean, I don't know if you saw the Game Changers movie. It's a athletic kind of. They've got all these kind of this really broad guy living his best life, selling the vegan diet, and if you chat to any keto or carnivore guy, or even a health conscious omnivore guy, they'll debate that shit all day, and they'll debate it really constructively, but they're not targeting those people. They're targeting the sleeping majority in the middle, and that's my basic frustration of it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm confused by how Steve's done vegan pulled pork. Did you just leave the pork to one side and just just start to scrape the air? The wife's just said jackfruit as well.
It's funny how like you can get vegan equivalents of meat, and they're sort of like a massive. This is really good. This is really good, and then it's actually
the only thing that I like that's vegan is the corn chicken nuggets. Randomly. It tastes better than like normal chicken nuggets.
That's part of the problem, because everything, when I was following a vegan diet, I was making whole food from scratch, and it was delicious. Everything I had was delicious. Everything I had was under 500 calories, so it was great for weight loss. So people are going to this diet and they're feeling great. And it's not about what they're now eating; it's about what they're no longer eating. So you get this kind of when you find something good, and we're the same on the other side. Us keto guys, we find something that works for us, and we want to share it with others. And what you're finding is the guys on the left who are doing vegan, the guys on the right who are doing keto, they've all found like this magic pill, and they want to share it with the world. And that's part of the problem. But one side is far more motivated than the other. So they carry their message much more effectively. And you've got things like Meat Free Monday. I mean, what's that all about? I mean, my school, right? They take the meat out the menus on Monday, right? What do they replace it with? Have a guess.
Some corn mince.
Fucking corn. Yeah, corn nuggets or vegetarian pizza. And that's my basic issue. Is one of the last unadulterated
something that's just the fucking same. Just
you remove the beef. And don't forget the beef is killing the environment and all that other stuff, but we'll cover that another time. And you replace it with processed food, and there's no way I can really kind of get behind that from my own point of view.
Maybe we should leave the vegans alone now.
Yeah, let's move on.
I did sort of hint about 5 minutes ago. We won't bash any vegans up too much, but there we go.
Coming on the show and sacrificing my social media career. Thanks for the opportunity, guys.
Now consider your soapbox officially removed, and we'll get back on with the interview. So let's talk about Keto Every Day. Is that actually it is your Facebook page, isn't it? I definitely know you're an active. It started off as a barbecue keto.
I started that group as a keto barbecue page, just as a way of showing that you can eat great food and not get fat or not kind of live to excess or anything, and that worked really well. Now, I found that you're going to find this really crazy to believe, right? But for a lot of people, they only barbecue in the summer. I mean, a bit weird to me, but found that it was kind of a bit of a ghost town in the winter, and I'd kind of investing my time in other things. So I've had frustration because in my own keto journey, it's all been about learning, and it's all been about education. I've spent time on other keto Facebook groups, and you just find these people, like they're known as keto police. You'll post a picture of a sausage, and they'll be drilling you out because you've got 2 grams of carbs in your sausage and it's not keto friendly. And I just found that quite frustrating and unhelpful for most people. You kind of want to encourage people to find progress and not perfection. So I'm trying to keep the page quite light. If someone comes on and posts a chip butty, they're probably going to get a ban. But if someone posts a sausage and it's got some like 2 grams of carbs in it, then we're not gonna jump on them. But I'm less involved in that now. I've got some ladies looking after that, and they're making it more aligned to a regular keto page. So,
oh, well, I quite like that page. It's got a certain quirkiness to it, shall we say? That again, it's not like any other keto pages. It's friendlier, shall we say? I find anyway from the stuff I've sort of certainly seen in there. There's some keto, as you said, you can go on some keto pages. They're pretty hardcore. You know, you can say, I've got this product, it's got this in it. And they're like, you can't use that. That's got 6 grams of sugar in, but it's like a 50-gram thing of rub you're going to use. And you're only going to use a tiny little bit of it on whatever you're going to use. But it's like sugar and carbs. That's up.
Yeah, and I get it as well as context. I mean, I know the owner of Keto Community UK or something like that, and they've got like 70,000 members. So you can imagine what kind of content they're getting added to that. So it requires a level of moderation, and it requires a certain amount of fairness and consistency, so the message isn't confusing. But I think what people like about my page is we are quite small, and I don't market it in any way. As people come and people go, and that's all. It's all fine. But generally, because we don't have as many people, we don't have to mandate as many policies, and it's a little easier to keep a lid on.
Yeah, I've kind of found that with my drum pages. when it was sort of around 1,000, it was really easy and everybody knew each other, and it was quite a. But once it gets above that, it sort of turns into a bit of a monster, and you find you're sort of reprimanding people, and there's little niggling things going in the background, and you've got to be the grown up sometimes, and it's
Well,
like.
I think most people on here know Country Would Smoke, and probably a few of them are probably involved when there was like 3,000 to 5,000 members. And this isn't a slant on Marcus, because Marcus is a friend and his admin team work really hard. But it's like a paradox of 10,000K is when the more people you get in a group, it's inevitable that the more idiots
Gravitate towards it.
kind of gravitate towards it. And it just gets to a point where you think, you know what, I'm not even going to post anything on there because it's just going to get sarky comments. And you saw it over Christmas. You saw some guy saying there was a half price beef rib at Tesco's, and it was £11 a kilo or whatever. And then all these meat guys just jumped on there going, it's crap, it's rubbish. All of which I agree with, but it's not like helpful. It's not helpful to people, because if for a lot of people, going into butchers is quite a nervous thing. And economy wise, if you see something in Tesco's, you might try something that you haven't seen before. So why not deal?
The problem is, I think if you go into a butcher's and you're not confident in asking what you want, as in a cut, the butchers see that and they'll just take you, pull your pants down. They'll give you, something that isn't quite what you wanted, or a cheaper cut of beef, for example, and you'll be like, yeah, check out what I've got, and you'll go back and you'll put it on the thing, on a post, and you'll be like, and then you'll get all the people go, well, that's not what that is. That's not, you've been had there. That's And
that's
there's never be anybody slating supermarket cuts just because, like you said, it gets people trying different cuts of meat that they might not necessarily try normally.
Now I get something my market, and I can buy a rib roast, bone-in rib roast at £14 a kilo all year, and I do, because I love my beef, but it's not the same for everyone. And I think in a group you have to remember that you're dealing with the educated and the uneducated, and it's kind of, everyone should be learning together rather than like smacking people down. But also, why not enjoy a bit of beef rib from Tesco's when it's half price? I mean, I never buy lamb. Lamb is completely off the menu until it comes half price in a supermarket, and then I'll pick some up.
I think everybody has to start somewhere, and generally in a barbecue group or a barbecue community, people can be led along the lines of, you have to buy this and you have to buy that. And I don't agree with that, if I'm totally honest, because sometimes you're starting out, you don't necessarily have the skill set to do what you're buying justice. Yeah, you've got to go along and cook a load of pork butts at bargain prices. You've got to go out and buy a load of all sorts of stuff from the supermarket. I still go and buy meat from the supermarket. I don't care. I enjoy it. Barbecue to me is a cheap thing. Yeah, you go out, you buy the cheapest cuts, or you obtain the cheapest cuts of meat you can, and you make it good, right?
Yeah. So thanks to people like ourselves now, we're now looking at 10, 12 quid for brisket, which is like, thanks a lot, Jamie, Oliver.
But then now you've got things more like, people aren't as conscious as the chuck roast over here at the moment. So you can go and get a similar product for half the price, but then that's going to go up in price again. I'm sure it will.
If you keep telling everybody about it.
Well, everybody needs to know it's good shit.
Hush your filthy mouth, Ryan.
Secret.
You even look at the pig, right? I mean, 10 years ago, like the leg and the loin was the cuts to have, and we were virtually exporting the shoulders and the belly because no one wanted them. And it's gone completely flip reverse now. The leg is like the cheap throwaway cut, and the belly and the shoulder is what everyone wants, and it's completely flip reversed.
Don't tell anyone about the pork collar.
I don't cook so many pork collars, so you can tell them all you like.
They're good. They're good.
Yeah.
Or pork shanks, good as well. But yeah, let's
touch on your ultras earlier on.
Yeah, I can't really advise on ultras, to be honest. I'm the antithesis of what a good runner should be. I mean, I'm not consistent with training. I'm not kind of any real good example to be set. But I've just found with ultra marathons, it's almost having the arrogance to believe that you can do it. And if you've got the arrogance to believe, turn up, then you're halfway there. And it's not like it. Ultra marathons can be harder than a marathon, because an ultra marathon, you're basically going for a day out on your feet. You're stopping, you're eating, you just keep moving, and that's the policy. And some of the marathons I've done have been harder than the ultras, because a marathon you're kind of aiming for time, but once you go beyond 26 miles, people stop asking you time, and they just go, well, how many miles? And that becomes the headline. So I can't really offer any sound advice than that, other than just go out.
For people like me that don't really know a huge amount about ultras, what is the basis behind them? What's the goal?
So an ultra marathon is anything beyond the 26.2 miles. So if you run, it's generally accepted that the ultra marathon distance kicks in around 32 miles, which is 50k. Right. And then they can be anything. I've seen them 100 miles. I've not done 100 miler myself. But it's just about time on feet. It's just about keeping moving. And yeah, that's all I can really say about it, to be honest.
100-mile marathon, that's just mind-boggling.
I've got some. We actually have a keto runners page on Facebook, and two of my admin pals on there. They're running 100 miles in May, assuming it goes ahead, of course. But not only are they running 100 miles, they're doing it in 6.2 mile laps, and 6.2 miles is 10k. So you've got to do a 10k, right? You got to come back from that, and you're going to got to go round again, got to go round again, got to go again.
Wow.
Those guys are going to be on their feet for like 24 hours, probably. It's going to be a long day for them.
A long day. That's an underestimate.
Oh, that makes my brain hurt thinking about that. That's just bonkers.
Oh, but the dedication behind it, though, it's amazing.
Well, there's guys out there. They've got some real talented guys out there. There's a guy called Scott Jurek. He's one of the recognised as the best ultramarathon type runners of all time, vegan. So there's obviously something in it. Also, on the other side of the camp, you've got a guy called Zach Bitter, and he holds the world record for 100 miles. And he does that. He follows a low carb diet, and so there's loads of these guys that are out there just challenging what is considered possible. And that's what I always think, because I remember before I started running, there was a guy who was trained to go in the Marines, and he said he was out running 7 miles 3 times a week, and I just thought, that sounds impossible. And the next thing you know, you're out there running 7 miles yourself, and then you kind of, these nutters running marathons, you think that's impossible too, and the next thing you know, you've run a marathon. And for me, my longest distance is 100k, which is 64 miles. But before I'd done that, I just reveled in this guy that had done it. It just sounded completely unhumanly possible. And like anything else in life, it's impossible until you've done it.
Yeah, just a off the cuff question. Have you ever run a London Marathon? I know that sounds
I have. I've entered into that thing like I don't know, probably 10 years in a row, and I've never got in. But the more I've ran, the less asked I am about doing it, to be honest. It's the one that everyone knows, and it's the one that everyone reveres. But you can go and run a marathon in your own county. I mean, it didn't happen this year, but there's a company where you pay like 20 quid or something nominal fee, and you can run 3 marathons in 3 days. And why do the London thing, you know? But
Yeah.
I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to do it at least once, just to say I've done it.
I was going to say, if you're a marathon runner, it's got to be like an iconic run that you'd want to do. I couldn't see that you wouldn't want to, in my opinion. I'm not a runner by any means, but I can imagine that sitting down and saying you've run the London Marathon, it's quite
it's a rite of passage. Like if you're a barbecue, you want to cook Christmas dinner on the barbecue, you have to do it, don't you? It's a tick box.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe if you're really clever, you run a marathon and then cook Christmas dinner on the barbecue. So quite a few guys running marathons on Christmas Day, which I thought fair enough if that's what you want to do with your life.
I'm just thinking of you running around with a summit strapped to your back, you know.
Yeah.
The stuff just jangling
around on a dolly. So you're just pushing it.
You're gonna take the Go Anywhere for that. The Go Anywhere is the tool for that job. Stop off about 15 miles, fry some sausages. Jobs are good.
Exactly. Yeah. So what we need to do now is take a look at your social media and all of that sort of stuff. If you can pull some, you got some cooks ready to pop up, Matt, or are we just looking at the minute?
Live critique? Are we having a live critique?
We're gonna pull some cooks up and show everybody in the chat just how talented you are. Hobo put the link in, so there we go. This is your Insta page. Look at that stuff.
Look at that.
Absolutely beautiful.
Some of those are quite good. Other ones not so much.
Some of them are quite good. They all look pretty damn good to me, mate. They all look pretty damn tasty. I think Ryan was particularly impressed with the what was it? The pork belly with the red cabbage. This one.
Yes, I'm surprised really, because that is, instead you talk about the recipe. The recipe is grilled belly pork on top of pickled cabbage. So it's not even a recipe. And as you go through, you can see the huge on carbs.
It just looks really amazing.
Burger carbs. There's
a couple of glasses of Jameson's there by the looks of things. I can see.
That one's okay. That one's a steak with roasted Brussels sprouts and beef dripping with a grilled mushroom. Nice. And the wife's favourite peppercorn sauce. That one's quite nice.
Yeah, I've just got into roasting Brussels. They're completely different flavour, aren't they? They're really nice. I much prefer them to boil.
One of my favourite cooks there's the I can't remember the name of the character on Futurama, but he's got the Zoidberg. That's it, isn't it? Zoidberg. Wow. See, that's southern fried chicken. That's a regular southern fried chicken. You got Handsome Kev on Summit Sundays. See, there's nothing low carb about that.
There's not, but that does look pretty special. Cooked in beef dripping again.
Yeah, I use a lot of beef dripping. I don't use any refined oils. That was Christmas Day last year. Pulled that one out of the archives to cover the slow season content.
Yeah, it's totally delicious. Pickles what's the buns made out of? I'm guessing. Did you have a specific bun recipe, or was it just a normal bun?
So I made a couple of buns over Christmas, regular buns. I made a brioche one that I found on YouTube. In terms of keto buns, I don't bother. I just kind of I've been disappointed by keto breads and this, that, and the other. So most of the buns on there are regular buns, to be honest. But there is one that has come recommended by a barbecue influencer who is trying keto, who thinks the Keto King one is quite good.
You can say his name. He's been on here before anyway, so
I don't know. I don't know if he's ready to disclose it or tag himself to it, but
okay. All right. We'll leave him anonymous then for now. But someone who should never.
Some guy who's quite well known is dipping their toe in keto, and he recommends the Keto King rolls. Says they're quite good. Haven't tried those myself, but I think when I started my keto journey, I found this English muffin, keto English muffin recipe, and it was made out of cauliflower, eggs, and cheese. And when you use word like English muffin, it kind of sets in your mind what it's going to taste like, and I can assure you it tastes nothing like an English muffin. So that's.
Have you tried the? Are they called falafels?
Falafels. Yeah, I've seen people making those. I've seen vegan recipes of those. I made a vegan version, but for me, I just like meat to be the mainstay of a meal. Anything else beyond that is not, in my opinion, not all that necessary.
What are they? The falafel ones are the really low carb waffles, aren't they? Or have I got the name? Chaffles, that's it, with the eggs.
Yeah, those are incredible. Those are incredible. You get yourself a little waffle maker. They're called it. The Dash is the brand leader, but you can buy like them for like £8 or £9, and they're typically a soft cheese. So you can use like a mozzarella, or you can use cream cheese. They're an egg, and some of them use almond flour, but I don't get on with almond flour, so I tend to add a bit of pork panko, which is just ground up crackling, and probably way down on my feed. I think I've got some chaffle recipes, but yeah, they're right little trend of 2019. They're like the keto equivalent of banana bread. I think everyone made those last year.
Yeah, they're not bad. I've made a few of them. I even brought a waffle iron to make them with. That's when I sort of like in my prime. It was a nice sort of like Saturday morning snack, or Saturday morning breakfast. They're good.
Yeah, one thing I found with them is because you're bolstering the fats in your meals, is you do have to keep an eye on calories, because you can make a chaffle and it can be 450 calories in a chaffle or something. Don't quote me on that. I made that up. But before long, it's pretty easy to get 1,000 calorie meal just following keto, and that may or that may not be helpful to some people.
I think it all depends what sort of tipping point you're at. Obviously myself, 1,000 calories for me isn't a problem. I've got that and change to consume and I'd still lose weight, which I found. But obviously, if you're more slight of frame, you're gonna 1,000 calories. You don't want to be pushing much higher than that. Otherwise, it's just not going to work, is it?
But what a lot of people don't realise is you'll get nearly always a 25-year-old PT. They're saying it's just calories. But what they don't necessarily realise is that it's very easy to overeat on those foods. And when you go to keto, when people are counting calories, they just find themselves hungry all the time, so they give up. And even the guys who I've alluded to, I said to him, when you get into your keto, you're probably not going to want to eat. You're probably going to be able to go 24 hours, 36 hours without food, and you couldn't believe me. And then when I last spoke to him, he said, yeah, I'm not feeling hungry at all. I can go 24, 36 hours without eating anything at all.
But then that's a knock-on effect if you're not actually still consuming what you're supposed to be consuming, because then it pushes you away from ketosis again, doesn't it?
Yeah, it can damage your metabolism if you're in too much of a calorie deficit. But what you're finding is that as long as you're hitting your protein macros, you keep your metabolism firing high, and it's not like you eat less, because some of the meals I posted this year, I've started trying to include some of the macros in them. I'm having 1,200 calories in a sitting, and if you've got any Slim Fast guys on, they'll be falling off their chairs at that. But what people don't realise is that might be all I'm eating all day, or it might be all I've eaten. I mean, New Year's Day, I didn't even plan to do it, but I didn't eat till 6:30 New Year's Eve, and we hadn't eaten since 6 o'clock. Sorry, New Year's Day, and before long, I'd been 24 hours without eating any food at all. And then the food I did eat was like ham and eggs, so it was a winning dish, you know.
I can say I had a similar experience for very different reasons on New Year's Day. I was up drinking with my friend John in the States till 6 a.m. So I saw the UK. I saw New Year's Eve in England come in, and I experienced it in New England as well with him on a live. That was fucking shit. And I think Hobo was in the chat. We just got wrecked.
Stairs? Where was I?
I was Hobo brought a interesting domain, shall we say, for wooden crafted paraphernalia. It was fucking so funny. I digress. Anyway, that's a different story, probably for the pub club.
I think so. Pub club, we are a little bit over time.
Yeah,
I've had a nice chat, but I'll be honest, I'm itching to go and get in the shower now.
yeah. I don't blame you. Before you go, we've got a quick fire question round to go, and also a standard question we always ask at the end of an interview. So, are you ready to go for the quick fire, hot fire Q question round?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Hot and fast or low and slow?
Hot and fast, low and slow, hot and fast.
Hot and fast. Day or night?
It's like choosing between your children now, isn't it? It's kind of each have their place. Quick fire, let's go.
Yeah, go on.
So day or night?
Day or night? Night times.
Nice.
Beer or spirit?
Spirit.
Lump or briquette?
Lumpwood.
Lump
Preferably
wood.
big cake. Just get the plug in there.
Yeah. Pork or beef?
Beef. Easy.
All right, when you're with ribs, wet or dry?
Oh, yeah. My I'm going to stall this question a bit, but my health conscious self says dry. My inner carb demon says swimming in sauce.
And that is the end of the quick fire round. There's not many of them, but
we're work in progress at the minute. So
I felt like I was getting good at them towards the end. You kind of.
I think we need a little few, probably.
We need a few more, don't we? It's like it just starts to get good and then it stops.
Isn't that the basic problem with the internet now? Is it's always one or the other, hot, fast, low, or slow, and of course anyone with half a brain is gonna like both of those methods for depending on what they're cooking.
Definitely, I 100% agree with you on that. So, completely different, non-barbecue related question. What are your top 3 favorite albums or songs?
Or artists.
You know what? It depends on what day you ask me. I love my dance music, my rave music. Reminds me of misspent youth. But some of the happiest albums I have was from my teenage years, and so probably Red Hot Chili's. I can't remember the album. Is it the one with Californication? Might be the name of the album. I can't remember. But Prodigy, Fat of the Land, and third one. Had it in my mind. It's escaped me now.
That's that
Yeah,
we spent.
Prodigy.
So I'm going to go and listen to
Isn't it?
my pitch up in a minute.
Dr. Dre, 2001.
Oh, see, this one comes up quite a lot, doesn't it? Dre?
It's just-
I don't even like that genre, but it's just something about that album.
that album.
Is, is incredible.
I think that album's been dropped 3 or 4 times now in that question.
Mhm.
Oh wow, good. I'm
quite-
in good company
Quite a
then.
popular album. Yeah,
Yeah, you're definitely in good company on that question. That answer is
definitely.
a lot of good people said that, and one not so good, but we won't go into that too much.
Right, Rob, do you want to tell everybody your social medias, where they can find you, things like that?
Shamelessly plug myself. So
Hey,
if you're a
plug 'em.
runner and you're interested in running in a keto diet, you want to head to Keto Runners UK. If you want to find a safe place to dabble in some keto diet, you want to head to Keto Every Day. If you're a barbecue nut, which I'm sure most of you are, I'd love you to come find me on Instagram, and that's Locarbecue. The guy I work most with is Edge Barbecue, so check him out as well.
Excellent.
Lovely.
I will let you go get in the shower, like you said.
There's a mental image to park it on.
That's it. We're going to head on into the pub club, the little after show segment that we run. It's been great having you on, mate. Thank you very much for coming on. It's been great.
Really,
Thanks for inviting me.
really good interview. Thanks for coming on, Rob. Much appreciated, mate. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to say at the top of the chat, congratulations on Angus tonight.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, buzzing about that. It's it came out the blue this week. Really, it's all very fresh. Not an obvious choice for advertising rubs and sauces, but I believe a carefully placed seasoning can bring a lot to a dish. So I'm really happy to be able to do some things with them. And I don't even know what that looks like, but I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, definitely. Their products are really good. And I'm sure you're going to have a really good, successful partnership with them. So I look forward to seeing whatever you put out there. It's going to be great anyway. A bit of a fanboy of your work. Thanks for coming on the Barbecue Talk Show.
Appreciate that, mate. Thanks very much. And thanks for having me.
No worries.
Cheers, mate.
Right.
Cheers, guys.
Into the pub club.